Shabbat Shalom, Mazal Tov to Noah and your family. It's such a wonderful thing to be able to come together for a simcha, for a celebratory moment. The Midrash Tanchuma teaches that Noah was one of three people who saw three different worlds in their lifetimes. Three different worlds in their lifetimes. The Midrash teaches this on the basis of the fact that Noach's name is repeated seemingly unnecessarily 3 times in the first verse of our Torah portion. Ele toldot Noach, Noach ish tzadik, tamim haya bedorotav, et Elohim hitalech Noach. This was the line of Noach. Noach was a righteous man, blameless in his age. Noach walked with God. The Midrash says, Noach, Ra'a olam bishuvo, Vera'ahu bechurbano, Vechazar vera'ahu bishuvo. Noah saw the world inhabited, settled. He witnessed its destruction. And finally, he beheld it re-inhabited. Noach he lived through 3 different worlds. And another way of thinking about this might be to say that there were 3 different Noachs. There was the Noach of before the flood, before the Mabul, the Noach who witnessed the world's destruction, and the Noach after the Mabul, the Noach of after the flood, who was charged with the rebuilding, with the recreation of the world. Who are these 3 Noachs? Well, there's some debate about who Noach was before the flood. He's described in that first verse as a tzaddik, but was he really a tzaddik? Was he really a righteous person? Rabbi Yehuda famously says, no, he was not. This is a relative term. He was only considered righteous because in his generation, when everyone else was so evil, by comparison, he was pretty good. If he had lived at any other time, he would have been like a regular guy. Rabbi Nehemiah says, yes, he was truly righteous. He was truly righteous. If you could live in a world surrounded by so much corruption and so much evil and be good a tiny bit, that's righteous. And how much more so would he have been had he lived at a time when there were more forces for good in the world? So we don't know for sure. We don't know much else about Noach other than his family members, but clearly there was enough of a seed of goodness in him that God felt he was worth saving. The second world, and the second Noach, begins before the rains start to fall. God tells Noach, I am going to destroy the earth. Go build an ark. Noach heeds God's command, but he's very passive. He doesn't speak at all. We see over and over again, 4 times the Torah tells us God told him to do something and he did it. God told him to do something and he did it. He never protests. He never asks the way that Abraham and Moshe will do when they learn of God's plans for destruction. The Midrash tells us that it took Noach 120 years to build the ark. And God was hoping during that time, Noach would encourage other people to do teshuvah, to repent, so that the world could be spared. But that is not what happened. So Noach's first reaction to the destruction is one of passivity. And then the Mabul begins, and Noach and his family and all of the animals get on the ark, and now it is really the world of destruction. And we see another side of Noach. In this period, Noach is depicted by our sages as a man of great hesed, also a man of deep prayer, as Roli taught so beautifully last night. a man of hesed, a man of loving kindness, giving of himself. He worked so hard. There are these beautiful descriptions of him never sleeping, working round the clock so that he could feed every animal at exactly the right time they needed to be fed. His MO on the ark was to give of himself and to sustain life in that one place where life could be found. Midrash Breshit Rabbah tells us that Noach turned the ark into a Beit Adonai, Beit Hashem, a house of God, through his acts of chesed. And one more thing, Noach, we might think that he insulates himself, that he tucks away inside the teva, not wanting to know what's going on outside, but I don't think that is the case. The Torah tells us that when the waters receded, Noach went to the chalon asher asa Noach, the window that Noach had made. Now, this word chalon does not appear in the instructions that God gave to Noach. God told Noach to make a tzohar, which is some kind of skylight or window or light source, but the chalon was Noach's innovation. Noach took the initiative to put in this window on the side of the ark so that he would never forget, that he would always be able to see out the window what was happening in the world around him. He would not forget that he was living through destruction and that there was suffering on the other side. And then there is the Noach who sees a third world, a world rebuilt and recreated. And this Noach is afraid. He is afraid and tentative. We see that hesitancy. When the waters recede, he's not sure what to do. He sends a raven, he sends a dove, he sends a dove again. God finally has to tell him, go, get out of the ark. Go. He doesn't want to go. He doesn't want to go into that new world. He's traumatized, understandably so. And this is a very natural response to trauma. Noach can't be part of the recreation of the world. God instructs him, pru orvu imilu et haaretz, be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth, repopulate the earth. These are the exact words that we saw last week in Sefer Breshit when God talked to the first humans who were created, but Noach can't do it. He never has any more children. And we're told that the world is repopulated by his children. So his children and their children and their children are part of the rebuilding, but Noach, while he's grateful for his own survival, he's incapable of rebuilding. And the last thing that we see him do, his last act in this drama, he plants a vineyard, but this is not really an act of rebuilding. He makes wine, he gets drunk, and he passes out. That's it. That's all he can bring himself to do. Again, a very natural response to living through the trauma that he lived through, witnessing what he had witnessed. 3 worlds, 3 Noachs. I think you probably know where I'm going with this. We are living in a Mabul. We are living in the flood. We are witnessing destruction all around us, not only the greatest display of violence and inhumanity committed against Jews that my generation has ever seen, but also the destruction of the security that so many of us have felt in having a Jewish state, a Jewish home, a Jewish haven. And the destruction of confidence in the institutions that are meant to be the foundation of modern civilization. Government, we have the lowest rates of trust in government in Israel than I think have ever been seen. The media, another institution that is supposed to be part of humanity, of civilization. Who do we trust? There's information from here and information from there, and nobody knows what is true. We can't rely on that. And universities, spaces that are supposed to be spaces of open-mindedness, of intellectual curiosity, of diversity and intelligent debate, have become tragically, dangerously, dogmatic bastions of narrowness and the destruction of many innocent lives through the retaliation and the destruction of so much work, so much toil by those who have been dedicated, who have dedicated their lives to finding a path for peace, a path to peace for Israel and for Palestine, a future where both people can survive and thrive. And there will be more destruction. There will be more destruction. Israel will do what she needs to do to defend herself, to please God, bring back the captives, to eradicate the evil that we have seen. It will be physically and spiritually brutal. But it will be. And it is so heavy and it is so frightening. And yet, the transformation of who we were as a people before October 7th to who we have become now over the past 2 weeks is absolutely extraordinary. Unlike Noah, we are raising our voices in response to the horror that we are seeing. And like Noah, we are looking through the chalon, the window. We are not curling up in despair. We are seeing what is happening around us, and we are responding to this destruction with hesed, with love. Before this flood began, consider how divided we were in Israel and over Israel. 10 months, 40 consecutive weeks of anti-government protests every Saturday night in Tel Aviv, the fights over judicial reform, the extremism of the Israeli government, religious, racist, homophobic, misogynistic extremism that was dividing the country. And in the past 2 weeks, we have seen some of the most beautiful, beautiful displays of humanity and ahdut, unity. In Israel, we've seen the stories of volunteers organizing and mobilizing supplies, people trying to give blood and being turned away because there are too many people coming to donate. And here in New York, on October 9th, there was a rally of 12,000 people outside the UN. From across political and religious lines, it didn't matter. We were all there together. 3 weeks before, I had been in the exact same spot at another protest against the judicial reforms in Netanyahu. And I guarantee you that people who were at the counter-protest for that rally were standing next to me at this rally on October 9th. Communities all over the country and all over the world are raising money, sending supplies. A family in my children's school is matching donations up to $100,000 for an organization that is providing mental health services to parents and children of the communities in the South where the mental health needs are so acute. So people are seeing needs and stepping up to fill those needs. And I wanted to share one other thing that you may not have seen in the news. Different from this, you might have seen that there are so many restaurants in Israel that are cooking meals and delivering meals to army bases and displaced communities, tens of thousands of meals a day. It's incredible. And there are about a dozen non-kosher restaurants in Tel Aviv, the city of proud secularism. They decided they wanted to become kosher so that they could distribute their food anywhere and everyone would feel good about eating it. So this is unheard of. Chefs are making their restaurants kosher. They're koshering their kitchens. And they went to the Tel Aviv rabbinate and they said, you need to create an emergency certification process so we can become certified kosher so that we can make food and give it to anyone who needs it. And the rabbinate did it. Mashiach is coming. Wait, Mashiach is really coming, because at the same time, there was an Orthodox rabbi who was asked and then ruled that if someone receives a donation of food and it's marked kosher, they can assume it's kosher. This has never happened before. This is a totally different kind of hesed, of ahdut, a breaking down of the religious distrust and religious contempt that characterizes so much of Israeli society. So we are seeing some extraordinary things right now. What remains to be seen is the third world. What is the world that will be when this destruction ends? We don't know. We don't know when it will end. We don't know what will be. Who will we be in this new world? What role will we play in recreation? We don't know, but we can ask ourselves these questions now. Let's use this time to also think about what can be, what world do we want there to be, and who do we need to be to make that possible? A world of love, a world of chesed, a world of dignity for all, because the time for that world will come. It will come. The Parsha last week and the Parsha this week concede a very heartbreaking truth. A truth that humankind has and will always have the capacity for evil, and that humankind has and always will do evil things. But God says at the end of this story, yes, that is true, but in spite of that, I will never destroy the world again, because humankind is also good. Humankind has the capacity for goodness, so much so that I want to be in relationship with humankind. The word brit, the word covenant, appears 7 times in the sentences that God says to Noah when God talks about what the world can be and what Noah should do at this moment to rebuild the world. God says, I want to be in relationship with you. I want to be in relationship with humanity. This is the first covenant that we see in the Torah, and this is the marker of the new world. So yes, there is evil. But that is not all there is. We don't know when the Mabul will end. We don't know when it will be time to leave the ark. But we can decide what we want the world's recreation to look like, because that will be up to us. Shabbat Shalom.